The CFCN News at 5. An explosion tears apart a home in Ogden. Harsh words from the CRHA. A doctor speaks out about the parachuting death of a Calgary woman. American embassies are on alert. Over 70 people are dead after 2 attacks on African embassies.
CFCN News with Cheryl Josephson and Ian White.
Good afternoon. There was a huge explosion in the southeast this afternoon.
It's still not known if anyone was in the home when it burst into flames. Firefighters are still on the scene of a single-family home in Ogden that was flattened by the explosion. A 45-year-old man was standing outside the home when firefighters arrived. He's been taken to hospital to be treated for first-degree burns to his hands and face. So far, firefighters have completed a primary search of the basement, but the rest of the home is too unstable to search. They will be counting on the injured man to help them piece together what happened. Firefighters, EMS, and police will all be on the scene for some time. The arson investigation team has also been called in. Canadian Western Natural Gas is also on the scene, and we'll have more on this coming up at 6. It's been 1 week since a Calgary woman was killed and another injured while skydiving near Bicycle.
CFCN News has obtained videotape taken during the fatal skydiving expedition. We'd like to advise you of the sensitive nature of the videotape. Some people may consider it to be unsuitable for younger members of your household.
Jumper number 1, what's your full name? Narisha Sharif.
The 3 young women were ecstatic as they prepared for their first jump at the Skydive Ranch near Bicycle. 22-year-old Narisha Sharif of Albuquerque, New Mexico, was the first to jump. Her chute failed to open fully and she spiraled to the ground. She suffered near-fatal injuries. The next jumper was 18-year-old Nadia Kanji, whose chute also did not fully deploy. She spiraled toward the ground, and when she realized she was in danger, cut away her main chute. Her reserve chute did deploy, but Kanji died when she hit the ground. The third girl, Sabrina Hasham, was prevented from jumping when the pilot saw the other 2 were in trouble. The doctor who treated Sharif says she'll suffer permanent damage.
Sir, I'm not a skydiver, but either this was an unfortunate accident when one girl is killed, when 2 young people who are previously healthy are injured and maimed in this manner, it becomes very difficult to believe that it's simply a coincidence.
The injured girl's mother and Dr. Prishaw have called for an immediate inquiry into the incident.
The Canadian soldier accused of attempted murder and attempted armed robbery made a brief court appearance today. Sergeant Darnell Bass is one of 2 men police have charged in relation to the botched Brinks holdup last March. Bass made his court appearance from the Calgary Remand Center via closed-circuit TV. His preliminary hearing has been set for November 30th. Bass has been described as a man capable of killing for money. However, his friends say he has in fact saved a life. In 1996, Bass was praised for helping save the life of a stabbing victim. Ottawa police confirm Bass, along with other military personnel, saved the life of an 81-year-old woman. His friends have set up a page on the internet as a show of support.
I've had an extraordinary outpouring of support for Mr. Bass. I've been receiving telephone calls from across Canada. They've all been very positive, and it's obvious that Mr. Bass has made a very positive impact on a lot of people.
The other man police have charged in the Brinks heist, Patrick Ryan, remains in police custody in France. The Federal Justice Department has 45 days to make a request for Ryan's extradition.
A young Calgary man is clinging to life after a horrible car crash last night in the Northeast. Police say the vehicle was southbound on 52nd Street. The driver went out of control just south of the 16th Avenue overpass and crashed through a concrete wall. The 23-year-old was trapped and had to be cut out of the car by the fire department. Investigators say speed and alcohol contributed to the crash.
You're watching CFCN News, Calgary.
It's being called the drop and prop.
The loonie hit another trading low this morning, bottoming out at 66.15 cents U.S. That prompted the Bank of Canada to move in to give it a boost, buying up hundreds of millions of Canadian dollars. It worked. After bouncing up and down most of the afternoon, the dollar closed at 65.71 cents U.S. That's up 32 hundredths. Analysts say it's still too soon to say if the reversal is more than a temporary blip. They point out the only other option to halt the loonies' fall is to raise interest rates, but that has its critics too.
With no signs of domestic inflation, a sharp increase in interest rates now would probably risk a recession in Canada. This is something that we obviously don't want.
And while it costs Canadians about $1.53 to buy $1 US, American tourists are getting a great bargain for their buck, making Canada a cheap vacation spot. Calgary's Tourist and Convention Bureau says the number of American visitors is up 10% over last year. Planes, buses, and cars are bringing Americans north of the 49th parallel in record numbers.
Yesterday we had 3 or 4 different buses in, and there was representation from, I think, 24 different states. A couple were also in from Hawaii.
Today, a tourist exchanging 220 American dollars walked away with 325 Canadian dollars. American tourists are flocking across the border not only for a cheap holiday, but shopping is a huge bargain as well. Tourists can get the GST back, and with 50% sale prices, merchandise is almost free.
We always kid them that with the exchange rate and with the discount, they almost get paid for taking the merchandise home.
It is a very big bargain, but it's a great place to come because not only is the price right, but the people are just the nicest in the world. They all speak English.
Tourism is up overall. The low Canadian dollar also means more Canadians are taking vacations in our own country.
And despite the low value of our Canadian dollar, the economy is still growing strong. The latest unemployment statistics were released today, and there's been no real change. The national unemployment rate was 8.4% in July, the same as it was in April, May, and June. It's the same story in Calgary as well. Here, the July unemployment rate was 5%, again, the same as it was in the previous 3 months. Some economists say the consistent figures are a sign the economy is still healthy.
This extended period of hot weather has Calgary's 2 water treatment plants working at full steam, and it doesn't look as though they're going to get a break anytime soon. The average amount of water used during a summer day in Calgary is 650 to 700 million liters. But for the past 10 days or so, that amount has increased to about 800 million liters. Glenmore's production superintendent says water quality is still good. Quality only begins to fall when the plants reach capacity. So far, the plants have been able to handle the load.
The plants, on a day like today, when demand from the citizens is quite high, the plants are working quite hard. We're not at capacity, but we're getting close to what the plants can do in a day.
And Limericker says if the plants reach capacity, they may ask Calgarians for help by reducing the amount of water they use for lawns and gardening. It's a piece of Calgary's history, and it may be around for a little while longer. Fire destroyed the Lorraine apartments in January. Since then, the owners have been trying to decide what to do with it. It was thought the building would be demolished, but now there's a ray of hope. Calgary developer Neil Richardson has secured investors to refurbish the Lorraine if the historic building is structurally sound. The land was originally owned by Calgary's Lougheed family. It's believed the Lorraine was built in 1913. Richardson is getting involved because he thinks Calgary is losing too many heritage buildings.
We've lost a number with the convention center expansion. We've lost a number of others with Safeway took an apartment building down. I think they're becoming scarcer and scarcer, and if we can restore them and preserve the heritage resource and at the same time making them functional in today's climate, then we should be doing that.
It shouldn't take long before Richardson's team can determine if they're able to save the Lorraine. If they can, the bill will be in the millions.
In news coast to coast, firefighters near Salmon Arm are getting some help today from Mother Nature. The wind is now blowing the Silver Creek fire away from Salmon Arm. However, the fire is far from under control. It now covers about 4,500 hectares. So far, 16 homes and farms have been destroyed. The BC government announced today that emergency funding will be available to those who've lost their homes. Meanwhile, calmer winds have also helped crews get a better handle on a fire near Kamloops. Most of the people evacuated from those areas have been allowed to return home, at least for now. The 2 women charged with murdering a Toronto police officer appeared in court this morning. 30-year-old Mary Barbara Taylor and 40-year-old Elaine Rose Cece are charged with the stabbing death of of undercover police officer Bill Hancock's. The women's identities are being protected because police say it may jeopardize witness identification. Their lawyers say it's a case of mistaken identity, and the two women are innocent. The premiers and territorial leaders have wrapped up their annual conference in Saskatoon. They say it was a productive meeting with agreement on a number of issues, all except a rather crucial one, Constitution. Over breakfast today, the premiers talked about the Calgary Declaration, the first time Lucien Bouchard has been part of that discussion. The Quebec premier was blunt about his opposition to the latest unity proposal. Bouchard had softened his position somewhat yesterday and agreed with the other premiers on a new framework for social programs. But today, it was politics as usual.
Can't enter into constitutional discussions until we have all willing partners. Well, of course, we don't have Quebec.
Klein says Bouchard must know by agreeing to the social framework, he's endorsing some of the Calgary principles.
Now our top story on the World at 5. The death toll in 2 anti-U.S. terrorist bombings in Kenya and Tanzania stands at 77, with at least 1,100 people injured and several people still missing. The powerful bombs went off within minutes of each other. As Nathan Thomas reports, the blasts are a dramatic demonstration of just how vulnerable American embassies can be.
They are still looking for survivors in the rubble in Nairobi. Though the U.S. Embassy was damaged, the building next to it was destroyed.
It is the worst thing I've ever seen. When I was in the United States, there was the Oklahoma City bombing, and this reminds me of that.
The U.S. military is sending emergency medical teams to both Kenya and Tanzania. The second bomb in the capital of Dar es Salaam destroyed 2/3 of the U.S. Embassy there and also inflicted heavy civilian casualties. U.S. flags were ordered flown at half-staff. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright in Rome is returning immediately to Washington.
We are also stepping up our efforts to protect the security of Americans around the world. We will be issuing an announcement urging Americans overseas to exercise caution. All our embassies are in a heightened state of alert.
U.S. Marines have cordoned off both embassies, waiting for investigators from the United States to arrive. Kenyan police have taken at least one person into custody. President Clinton says those responsible will be found.
These acts of terrorist violence are abhorrent. They are inhuman. We will use all the means at our disposal to bring those responsible to justice, no matter what or how long it takes.
With so many of their own people dead and injured, both governments have said they will cooperate with American investigators. American investigators say that with the two bombs going off within minutes of each other, it appears to have been a well-planned, coordinated attack. But the FBI, which will be leading the investigation, says so far they still have no suspects. Nathan Thomas, ABC News, London.
In other news from the World at 5, Washington is still reeling after yesterday's grand jury appearance by Monica Lewinsky. Lewinsky provided the testimony everyone had been waiting to hear for 6 months, that she had sexual relations with President Bill Clinton. Her testimony directly contradicts sworn testimony by the president. Clinton gets his chance to testify before the grand jury via closed-circuit TV August 17th.
Still to come on the CFCN News this half hour, some people get cranky, others feel panicky, but can butting out make you accident-prone?
And his routine is about everyday situations, but it could be the last time anyone sees Jerry Seinfeld do this shtick.
I'm David Spence, mastering the domain of the CFCN Weather Center. We could see some severe weather happening in southeastern Alberta this afternoon, but otherwise just kind of a hazy rest of the day. The weekend, too. We'll talk about it in a couple of minutes.
Whoa! I'd like to show you how to play the game of Lucky Horseshoes. It's all on how you pick the ticket. I'll take this one. How did I pick that ticket? Simple. I use horse sense.
Try Lucky Horseshoes, the new scratch and win game now at your lottery ticket center.
Whoa, big fella.
When your dishes don't come out completely clean, you can either scrape them, rewash them, or change your detergent. Electrosol tabs have a blue layer that breaks up tough stains and a white layer that scrubs your dishes to a shine. The first time. Electrosol tabs.
Troops, we dishwashers have a dirty new mission. Cloudy, filmy glasses.
Our new weapon, improved jet dry. It's formulated to prevent filmy buildup. New jet dry spot and film fighter. Your dishwasher was designed for it.
I see the band has a new look.
Do you think this eyeliner goes?
Try the dark brown.
Ooh, mahogany hair. Nice.
So how will you be paying? Oh, you filled up our Shoppers Cosmetics Club card.
That's worth $20 of free cosmetic club products.
$20 free? Thank you. Why do you always get free stuff? Where's our cards? More?
Yes! Call 1-888-SPEEDY-8 for a Speedy near you. CFCN Weather Report brought to you by Ram Services. Complete care for the home environment.
Okay, the weekend's here.
Okay.
We still have to work a half hour or so. But,
about 10 more minutes.
The weather looks pretty good for the weekend, David.
Clock watchers, what an attitude.
No,
Man. We have the possibility of some thunder showers in the Medicine Hat area. Otherwise, it's just kind of a hazy day in Alberta, and the reason for that, forest fires. Not the ones in British Columbia, but there are more than 100 forest fires burning in northern Alberta, and we have a northerly wind, so the wind is just drawing that smoke into the south, and it's giving us the haze. It's going to give us a nice orange sunset tonight, and a nice orange moon as well, similar to what we had last night. Using the 3D perspective here this time around, most of the severe weather is south of the border in Montana, but there is a line of thunderclouds beginning to develop right up into central Saskatchewan, and as that moves off to the southeast, we could see some bands of this cloud with the possibility of thunder showers moving through the Medicine Hat area. That cloud you see off to the northwest of Calgary is really not much to be concerned about. Most of it's pretty thin and shouldn't cause any problems for us tonight. So we're going with a few clouds in the forecast and a low of 10. It will remain smoky tomorrow. As the flow generally slackens right off, there will be no wind to kick the smoke out of here. The temperature up to 26 degrees, and then Sunday should be mainly sunny and 28. Banff, smoky tonight and hazy tomorrow, whatever the difference is. 5 overnight tonight, so it will be quite cool. Tomorrow up to 26, and then with any luck, the haze will clear out a bit on Sunday with a high temperature of 26 degrees. Right now in Calgary, it's sunny and hazy. 24 is our temperature, the wind coming out of the east. And in Banff, the southwest breeze, 15 kilometers per hour, temperature is 22 degrees. The wind has been kind of going from north to east to west. It's called a variable wind. And because it does come from the north from time to time, we get the smoke.
All right. Thank you, Dave. And we certainly don't want to leave the impression that we don't like our jobs.
We're not saying that at all,
No.
but you're here for another 15 minutes or so. Just for the record.
We do it all day long, but you wouldn't keep watching. So turning to our health agenda today, germs are everywhere, but are household cleaning agents actually contributing to the problem? And quitting smoking can do different things to a person, but can it make you more accident prone? And it's a form of poison, and some people are using it instead of surgery.
Scientists say a type of germ warfare is being waged right in your own home. Ironically, household cleaning products may be helping harmful bacteria to win the fight. Scientists say soaps and lotions containing antibacterial agents could be triggering a genetic change in bacteria, making them highly drug-resistant. This poses a major health problem since antibiotics have become less effective at killing dangerous germs. However, scientists say more research is
Right now, get 20 Timbits for $1.99. And you might win one of 50 family vacations to any of 20 Attractions Canada destinations in the Timbits Family Getaways Contest. The amazing $1.99 Timbits Snack Pack. Get a snack pack and get away.
Excel, accelerate your breath. Excel.
Excel's unique cooling sensation hits you with a burst of explosive out-cooling freshness.
Excel, accelerate your breath.
So don't just freshen your breath, accelerate it with the explosive cooling sensation of Excel sugar-free gum.
Excel, accelerate your breath.
The annual garden competition held by Calgary's Horticultural Society has wrapped up.
And coming up tonight on the CFCN News at 6, reporter Gord Kelly takes a look at 3 winning gardens in the city, each with its own distinct personality. The public can view the winning gardens this weekend. Tickets are available at your local garden store. We'll have complete details tonight at 6. From our Friday day file, Jerry Seinfeld has finally returned to the city he loves, New York.
After living in Los Angeles for the last 9 years, Jerry's back in town. But before he settles down in his new Manhattan townhouse, Seinfeld is giving people one last chance to see his stand-up routine on Broadway. Russ Mitchell has more.
Jerry Seinfeld is heading back to his stand-up roots this week, getting ready for his live HBO special this Sunday. He's retiring his old routines in his show, I'm Telling You for the Last Time. They might be some of the same classic jokes he told in his first HBO special more than a decade ago.
That's his other big advice to me, easy. I don't know what the hell that means. Every time we lift up something heavy, he goes, easy now, take it easy, easy, easy. It's not easy, it's very difficult. Okay?
Scalpers are reportedly getting $1,500 a ticket, but at least one fan paid regular price.
And I paid for it, not a freebie. Not like I usually get, some house seats. I paid for it.
There's no point where they go, okay, we got it. That does not exist with celebrity photojournalism.
Seinfeld called a news conference this week to talk about his Broadway debut.
The Great White Way, which I think is also politically incorrect.
I was an admirer back when I wasn't even sure what his name was. I said, there's a new show on television. It's called Signman or Signherd. That's great.
Very good. Thank you. After the show, it seemed every fan had a new favorite Seinfeld joke.
Why do we sit on runways? Do they forget the keys? Are they looking for the magnetic key under the plane?
Probably when he was talking about female orgasm. There's 2 kinds. The real and the ones that make up.
Okay, he said men don't care. They can take them as much as they want. Men just don't care.
And the thing about sex, about women's sexual satisfaction, that wasn't so good. I thought he can do better.
Russ Mitchell, CBS News.
He can do better. The Home Run Derby heats up tonight.
Interesting contest tonight. Cubs in the cards. That means Slamming Sammy Sosa versus Mark McGwire tonight.
You just love saying that. You'll be so sad when this is over.
It's fun to say that.
Thanks for being with us and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye-bye.